Hi everyone, this is Sira and you're watching Tech for Luddites. In this video, we'll examine the feasibility of Elon Musk's latest plan to take over the world through the internet. Starlink hopes to send up a ton of satellites into space over the course of the next few years so that they can beam down memes straight to your phone. Okay, so it won't be straight to your phone. Sorry for the misleading thumbnail. Instead, you'll get your internet through what are widely being described as pizza box-sized phased array antennas. The satellites will orbit the world, sending everyone data at a rate that far surpasses traditional satellite internet. Not a high bar, but okay. How is it different? Well, the two main things are that these satellites will orbit much closer to the Earth and there will be more of them. SpaceX has also gained approval for 1 million ground stations. These antennas can send a directed beam without the need to point in a certain direction. Okay, cross that. Apparently, in a tweet, Elon said they'll be like flying saucers that twitch and move around to find the optimal angle to the sky. So I guess invest in small motor repair companies if you want to make a lot of money. It's basically like your Tata Sky dish. Just that because TV satellites are geostationary, meaning they hover at a fixed point with respect to the Earth, the dishes don't need to change the direction of their beams. If you've ever wondered why the same data link that sends you your TV signals can't provide you internet, well, it's because of the latency. Because geostationary satellites orbit at 37,000 kilometers above the Earth. The signal would have to travel a long way and your internet would just not be very responsive. Also, satellite TV sends you everything at once. It all arrives together at slightly different frequencies and you use your set-top box to decide the program you want to tune into. And for the showcases, etc., you have to send a message to a phone number. You're not really communicating with the satellite directly. Anyway, so back to Starlink. Just a few days ago, SpaceX sent 60 satellites into orbit with a single Falcon 9 rocket. And by 2027, they're planning to send 12,000, with permission for 30,000 more. But what's the point of all this? Is it going to be any faster than your regular internet? That depends. They've demonstrated speeds of 610 megabits per second and said they'll go up to 1 gigabit per second, which is faster than most internet connections we have right now. But since the bandwidth appears to be limited to 20 Gbps per satellite, they'll probably throttle this to more manageable levels per user. Everything needs to be taken in context. Even very mature companies in this space don't have huge client bases. So that capacity is not likely to be saturated, at least at first. Elon Musk said on Twitter that SpaceX will be able to start providing somewhat functional internet on Starlink when they have 1,000 satellites in orbit, supposedly by the end of 2020. Let's talk about the state of the internet today. Great connectivity in major cities for the most part through broadband. Middling to terrible connectivity in small towns and suburbs, and absent completely in many rural areas where a lot of people use mobile networks to stay connected. Everyone knows a second SIM slot in every phone is reserved for Jio. But by the mid-20s, I think we should have 5G. And remember, 5G is not just high speeds, it's also huge amounts of bandwidth, possibly unlimited data caps and much wider coverage at lower speeds using sub-6 bands. So where will Starlink really work? Well, all current HughesNet subscribers are apparently really desperate for it. Rural areas and even the most developed countries seem to be terrible in terms of having a functional internet. And I'm a bit of a sucker for the idea of the world opening up. Widespread high-speed internet bringing with it the ability to live and work from anywhere. Freeing up the cities, bringing new businesses to smaller towns, and bringing down the cost of real estate. But I have a feeling that will never happen. No proof. I just think cities are incredibly good at concentrating resources, and most of us, as much as we may claim otherwise, prefer those comforts to living secluded lifestyles near nature. The other big advantage that people are talking about is in high-frequency trading. Because the signal will travel through air and space rather than through optic fiber cable, apparently the latency will be significantly lower. And this will allow algorithms to make quick bucks on ephemeral stock fluctuations. Really? Is that how people are making money these days? I don't think I'm a huge fan of the idea, but it seems to be worth big money. Let's look at some of the possible disadvantages of Starlink. Well, there's a possibility of space debris. Today we have around 2,000 satellites in space. Another 40,000 in orbit is totally uncharted territory for mankind. Even if there's a single collision, it could lead to a runway chain reaction. At the same time, these satellites are in low Earth orbits, so they'll likely just fall back to Earth except a few fragments that get thrown up further. But space is pretty big, and these satellites come with systems to detect each other's positions and adjust course accordingly. So I think we'll probably be okay. The other issue that cropped up was that astronomers found that the Starlink satellites were so bright in the sky that it was mucking up their observations. But they've been discussing this issue with SpaceX, and it looks like once the satellites reach their final orbit, they won't be that obtrusive. Starlink is also experimenting to try and reduce the amount of light that satellites reflect in further launches. As much as I like the idea of internet from space, it doesn't look like it's going to be substantially cheaper. The terminal itself is supposed to cost $200 or 14,000 rupees. And I don't see how exactly the unserved rural poor, who Starlink claims that will help, are going to be able to afford it. Elon Musk wants to make $30 billion per year from this venture. And even if they gobble up all their competitors, it's not clear where that money is going to come from. And when the satellites crash and burn in 5 years or so, they'll need to be replaced. So there's always that expense. Starlink has a couple of major competitors other than the few that already exist. Jeff Bezos' Kuiper plans to deploy a 3,000 satellite constellation. And OneWeb, a company backed by tech giants like Qualcomm, will have a 2,000 satellite constellation. There are some technical differences, but essentially they all have the same stated purpose of connecting the world through universally available internet. And though they have some of the deepest pockets in the world funding them, they don't have the advantage of literally owning the largest launch provider in the world. With so many companies rushing into space, you have to wonder, why? Does it make a ton of money? It doesn't really look like it. Maybe there is a new business model coming. If we do have ubiquitous internet connectivity with low latency, could that be used for calls, thus replacing telecoms? I don't see why not. I already use WhatsApp for calls pretty often. Will low latency internet help Tesla make autonomous fleets of taxis more viable? Maybe it can be used for military purposes or for emergency services. And maybe some third world governments will buy a bunch of bandwidth to provide free internet access to all its citizens. Elon Musk always ties his ventures to a higher purpose. With Tesla and Hyperloop, it's about stopping global warming. And with Starlink, he plans to use the $30 billion a year in revenue to fund the colonization of Mars. And while Hyperloop may be doomed to failure, Tesla is genuinely changing the world for the better. So Elon has proven to have a decent track record. People who have bet against him haven't usually fared well. So, if you live in a city, would you take perhaps a slightly slower, more expensive internet to subsidize it for the people in rural areas? Especially if it helped humanity get to Mars? Let me know. And if you have any questions about Starlink, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them in next week's video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, share and subscribe to get more videos like this in your recommendations. I'll see you really soon. Bye.